Alrighty, here we are again, and the lights already go out. Show's over, folks. Okay, no, not really. Let me just get some lights back here. Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another opening night, and by request by David Salgado, this is part 2 of 3. He had sent us a copy of the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, and we just did the first one last week, which I had seen before, so you're getting actually a first impression here, because I have not seen 2 and 3. Today we're taking a look at, or tonight actually, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, How to Train Your Dragon 2. This is the sequel that came out in 2014, and I'm surprised that it's, you know, it's been this long. Like, I haven't sat through this. Like, there's a lot I've missed out on in the last few years, so this is my first time sitting through the second movie. And to give a recap of what I like about the first one, I think it's a fun film. I think it's a fun, adventurous, really great, colorful movie. And, you know, the 3D when I saw it was great. And, you know, I did like the characters, I did like the colors, I did like the designs of all the dragons. It's a good story. Now we're on How to Train Your Dragon 2, and first impressions, wow, what an improvement. Most notably, I would say the most in quality and music. When, you know, the opening credits go up, and fuck, I forgot about that hook, the fucking hook on the DreamWorks logo, because it's like, the 3D are just like, can you imagine, like, if that actually happened, like, the hook comes in, ah, my eye, oh god! But actually, it's funny, because, like, I can't remember who did the first film, if it was just DreamWorks alone, but I think this is one of the first films that DreamWorks had gone to other studios to help finance them. Now they're under the control of Universal Studios, which is cool. Man, How to Train Your Dragon ride would be great. But this one was actually, for some reason, at one point they were doing stuff for 20th Century Fox. So this was the first film. This is one of the first DreamWorks films under Fox. So it opens with what pretty much reminded me of pod racing from the Phantom Menace. Because Burke has pretty much set up the dragon community and how people ride dragons, and it's great. And it's like a pod race. You have the dragons riding, or classic characters from before here. You know, one of them's played by McLovin. One's T.J. Miller. I didn't know about that till later. I looked this up on IMDb. Astrid is played by an actress I don't remember, but the dad, Hiccup's dad, is played by, I didn't know this again from the first film, Gerard Butler, and I'm like, oh god, it's King Leonidas! This is madness! This is Dragons of Bulk! You know, like, oh my god. So, Hiccup is now on, you know, just kind of traveling the worlds, expanding his world, and figuring out where the dragons are what, and so on. Astrid, who was the blonde chick in the first movie, they're now 20 years old, which is great, so they're now adults. She's now pretty much going to be married to Hiccup, because the king's like, you know, that is my daughter-in-law, so you're like, ooh, they're getting frisky. I haven't seen the third one, I wonder if they're going to have kids, that'd be interesting. But, anyway, they discover a couple areas of land that are kind of weird. And it turns out there's these dragon hunters that are hunting dragons to form an army, because there's other dragon riders out there. And the dragon hunters are led by a pirate dude who is played by Kit Harington, because Game of Thrones, you know, this was around season 4 of Game of Thrones, and all the actors from that show were superstars. So Kit Harington, of course, has to be in one of these things. Like, they cast him just because Game of Thrones, so he already had the accent done. So he's Jon Snow. He's Jon Snow before the last seasons when he actually rode dragons. So this movie kind of predicted the future of the show. So, you know, he's doing his thing, and he works for a guy named Drago, which, why is that? That seems like such a generic name for a bad guy. But anyway, so Drago's forming an army of dragons, and meanwhile, we also come across Hiccup's mother, played by the amazingly talented Cate Blanchett. She's one of my favorite actresses in the business, you know, since Lord of the Rings, so yeah, basically, Hiccup's father is King Leonidas, and his mother is Galadriel. Best crossover ever. So, it all leads to this, you know, battle between Drago and the Dragon Riders, and you have to see for yourself, because there's a lot of surprises in this movie. One thing I can say that I really liked about the sequel, the colors and the quality of the animation, holy crap, what an improvement from the first film. It kind of has that Toy Story, like, later sequel vibe to it, where Toy Stories 3 and 4 really pushed and upgraded the animation quality from the first two very well. Like, the quality is outstanding. Especially for a 2014 film. Like, the animation still looks great in this one. So I can't wait to see what happens with part 3, how good the animation passes after 4 years. So, basically, yeah, the animation's fantastic. The colors are alive. It's beautiful. There's a bigger scope to it. It's like the battle at the end is spectacular. Great battle with armies and dragons. There's even kaiju-sized dragons. Like, we had a giant kaiju-sized dragon in the first film. Now we got 2, and there's like a dragon, like a big Godzilla fight in between all these dragons fighting and shooting, and knights shooting arrows and swords and stuff. And it's awesome. Like, the third act is just like, wow, that's so cool. That's amazing. So the battle's fantastic. That was great. The music was fantastic. I actually want to look up quickly who did the music for this movie, because the music is incredible for How to Train Your Dragon 2. Let me just look this up on IMDb. Sorry, I just completely forgot about this. How to train... Okay, hang on. I just gotta look at this. Hold on, Google. Shit. How to Train Your Dragon 2 soundtrack. Let's see what Google has to say. Okay, so John Powell. John Powell did the score. Bravo. The score is fantastic. And here's the thing. Again, John Powell is a veteran for DreamWorks. He's worked on everything since the beginning. He's like the go-to guy, and his score to this is fantastic. Again, John Powell is one of my favorite composers, especially for animation. You know, he did the scores for Chicken Run, he did the scores for Robots, which, that's a movie I need to cover at some point. Fucking love Robots. He really brought his A-game here. It sounds like he had a bigger orchestra, which is great. Everything's so much larger in this film, and it's honestly pretty spectacular. The characters are once again great. They've really matured since the first film. You have, Hiccup's mom, Cate Blanchett. Great character, and we find out a lot about her backstory, because that was one of the questions I think a lot of people wonder about the first one. So that's all good. It's a well-done sequel. Do I hold it on par with the first? No, I think I like the first a little more, but this is a decent sequel. The only thing I have to say that's kind of iffy for me, and I don't know if How to Train Your Dragon fans on DeviantArt or whatever, which there probably are, can justify this for me. I thought the villain was lame. I thought Dragon was not a good villain. I mean, he had some cool moments, like he's a cool design, you know. God damn it, I want that dragon cape. A dragon skin cape. Because one of the dragons tries to breathe fire on him, and he's like, nope. He's got like fucking Batman flame retardant cape from Batman Forever. It's awesome. Love his cape, love his design, love the fucking, he has no arm, so he builds a big robot arm. It's all about mechanical arms. This suffers from Star Wars syndrome. But in terms of character, like, they built him up to be this great menace, this Dark Lord, like, you know, the Dark Lord Sauron, you know, something on that nature, and it comes off really lame. Like, you know what he looks like? Quintus Voss, the Jedi from Star Wars. Like, he looks like, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I apologize, Star Wars fans, but he's kind of underwhelming as a villain, both how he looks as a character, but also kind of his motive. He doesn't really have a motivation other than just, I'm evil, and I want a dragon army, and, you know, it doesn't feel really important, you know. And the villain, there's a part of it where they say, oh, you know, my whole village was slaughtered, I lost my arm, so I have to use fear, but it's like, it's so generic and cliche. I thought the villain was kind of weak, and it's really the only suffering this film has, because other than that, it's a beautiful looking animated film. The music's fantastic. Oh, there goes our fucking thing again. The music's fantastic. The jokes are really funny. This is another great funny film. Like, there's some like, even the animation in terms of quality work with the jokes, and it's hilarious. Like, there's a couple times I was just like, ha ha ha, Like, I was actually there were some good gags in this, so... Yeah, just a decent sequel, a decent update in animation, the music's fantastic, like, what else is there to say? How to Train Your Dragon 2 is pretty kick-ass, I'm not gonna lie. If you even want to start here, you definitely can, and you get kind of the whole story of what the hell's going on. You know, it kind of recaps a lot from the first, but it's very quick, and it gets to the point of the story, so... I think that's the success also in terms of plot with these movies is that each story sort of stands on its own and doesn't rely on the first film other than expanded stuff from the first film. So, in a way, like, it works in its favor. So, I don't know, like, did I give the first film about a good 8 out of 10? I'm gonna give this one about a 9.5 or a 9.8. This was a pretty... damn good sequel. Like, I wouldn't say it's one of the greatest sequels ever, far from it, but to a follow-up to How to Train Your Dragon, it blows your expectations away. It doesn't hold back on anything. It's not like the Shrek sequels where they're anticlimactic as fuck, and, you know, they're all like, oh, we can just get along, you know, like, which is Hiccup's main thing, but he learns, yeah, I gotta kill motherfuckers. So, yeah, there's a great battle at the end. This is shit I look for in animated films with this kind of world, is you set up your fantasy world, you best have some battles. So, I loved it. It was a good sequel. I was pleasantly surprised. So thank you, David Salgado, for recommending me these. In fact, I can't wait for the third one next week. I'm looking forward to talking about that shit. And I don't know, who knows? Maybe I'll have a special guest on. I have a client coming up this weekend. But yeah, definitely... probably gonna look at the third one. I cannot wait to see how this trilogy wraps up. If they're making a part 4, if they're doing the Toy Story 4 route, fuck that. Just keep it a trilogy, but let's see. I've heard really good visual things about the third film. So, yeah, I give this a 9.5. Like, great sequel, great animated film, definitely for the whole family while you're on lockdown. It's on Netflix. I have the DVD, but I watched it on Netflix because it's there. I just checked it. But great movie. Really liked it. Really dug it. Can't wait for part 3. So, that's it for my review. A little shorter than usual. What are your thoughts on How to Train Your Dragon 2? Let me know in the comments section below. And tune in next time. We're going to take a look at part 3, The Hidden World, which it doesn't have part... What is up with that with sequels? I'll talk about it later, but what is up with third sequels in some instances not having 3 in the title? It's like they're scared to put 3 in this. It's the same thing with 4. You know, like, the only one I think of is, like, Turtles 3. You know, Turtles, like, I mean, it has a subtitle, but it doesn't have 3. That makes no fucking sense. So, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. These are normally Patreon requests, so if you guys want to, request a movie for us to watch on opening night, you can donate to us on Patreon, donate $5 a month, and you get a once-a-month request for us to review a movie, or just $1 more will get you early access to all of our content, as well as other special features. So, until the next video, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Oh, one more thing I forgot to say that kind of made this movie that I was kind of like, I forgot about this. Fuck. One thing in the movie that kind of was, like, a little cringy, when the Gerard Butler King and the Cate Blanchett mom get back together, he starts whistling. And I'm just like, oh no. No, Jared, please, no, don't you dare. Don't do it. Do not sing! And he sings. I'm like, you son of a bitch! I'm sorry, but Jared Leto can't sing for shit. I've seen Phantom of the Opera, the Joel Schumacher film. It's okay, but God, that motherfucker cannot sing. He's a good action hero. He's a great actor. He cannot sing. I'm sorry. You're no Michael Crawford, Gerard Butler. You are no Michael Crawford. So I'm done. Okay, I'm done. So until the next video, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off saying... Jared Leto can't sing for shit! I'll see you on part 3. Later.